Totally
economy
different.
wasn't good. And he kept putting off, he wanted to get married. And he said, but I can't see doing this on a, a guide's salary, a tour guide's salary. I felt so bad for him. He wanted to immigrate to the United States, but that's difficult too. So
It's
good to
impossible
hear.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, actually, it was very different from just 3 years ago. Very different. I guess
Oops.
here we go.
Here we go. Mhm. I hope everything's go.
Yeah. Let's see what comes up here.
I know, I don't see anything. This meeting is recorded, but okay. Are you hearing anything from the meeting, Mel?
No, nothing. Nothing.
No, me either.
All I just heard was recording in progress, which means they must be.
That's all I heard too.
Yeah, so they must be
But
starting up the
usually
meeting.
they come on though.
All right. Well, we're here. Let's see what happens.
We're here. We'll have our own meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
Oh, here we go. Look at the picture.
Look at that.
All right, we'd like to call the meeting to order.
Yeah.
Good.
If you're on any type of video or audio, we'd ask you to mute on your end, please. It's 5 o'clock. Hannah, could you take the roll, please?
Mr. Nobles?
Here.
Ms. Budd?
Here.
Here.
Mr. Tucker?
Here.
Mr. Golden?
Here.
Mr. Vogel?
I'm here.
Mr. Cullen?
Okay, I note that.
Here.
Okay. I thought you were there, Mel. Thank you. I note that a quorum is present. First order of business is we have a special presentation to make this evening. Reliable Jet recently celebrated a milestone commemorating 20 years in business, which is hard to believe here in Boca and at the Boca Raton Airport. And we want to acknowledge this important anniversary. So on behalf of the Airport Authority, I'd like to present Dick Smith, Mark Ginsheimer, and Jim Stormont with this plaque, and we'd like to ask them to come up to the podium and say a few words. So, gentlemen, thank you.
Dick Smith.
Mark.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, please.
Congratulations.
Way to go.
Thank you.
Way to go. Say a few words.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank the Airport Authority for this honor. It's been our honor to serve the Boca Raton community in the airport for a little over 20 years now. Having been almost a lifelong resident of Boca Raton, I truly support and wish to see it succeed. Claire and I have had lots of talks over the years about things that we can do to improve. So we thank you so much for this honor.
I can't really add anything to that. It's a thrill when I think 20 years. I was old 20 years ago. I've been flying in and out of this airport since 1970. It's been a wonderful experience to see it change, and particularly what Claire has brought to the airport. Really some great changes to the airport. They cost us a little money. It's working out great for the airport, making it better. So thank you all very much.
Mark, okay, thank you.
If we could maybe get a picture.
Yeah,
ready.
yeah. You're gonna hop in. Come on.
Sure.
Come on.
Come in here with this.
Right. 1, 2, 3. There you go. All right, thank you. Thank you, guys. All right, we'll pop back to the agenda. Approval of the minutes. Our last meeting was March 18th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from this meeting?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion or questions? If not, all in favor? Aye. There is also a second item under approval of minutes tonight. There was a typo that staff discovered in the February board meeting minutes, and it's essentially a date typo. I think we did, we said 25 instead of 26. So if we could have an motion to approve these amended minutes.
So moved. Second.
Discussions or questions? If not, all in favor? Aye. Claire, are there any changes to the agenda tonight?
No, sir.
Thank you. Public request. If any member of the public wishes to provide a comment on any item, the time to do so is now. Please complete a public comment card identifying the item upon which you wish to be heard and provide it to Ms. Nevada. The public comment cards are located at the back of the room. Each member of the public wishing to comment will be provided with 5 minutes to do so. The chair reserves the right to move the public comment opportunity on a specific item to the point in the agenda when that item is to be considered and/or to extend the allotted time per speaker. Hannah, are there any public requests at this point?
There are none at this time.
Thank you. Consent addenda, there are no items on the consent agenda tonight. Federal, state, and municipal input. Clara, is there any input?
Not this evening.
Thank you. Financial report, item 7. Mr. Now, would you like to introduce this?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I did review this is the financial report as of March 2026. I did review the details behind the summary report, the report package, and did have discussions with the staff, finance staff, on the discrepancies. They're outlined, the major ones are outlined in the cover memo, and I'll turn it over to Robert Abbott to give a summarized version for our presentation today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dow. Before I start, I just want to point out there was a small typo on the finance report. It doesn't affect any of the numbers, so that's why you have a printed out copy there. It was just in the annual budget. It was not updated from the point when we amended the budget at last month's meeting. All the monthly budget numbers were all updated correctly. It was just the annual one to carry over. So all the variances that you saw are exactly the same. It's just the total number there. So with that, for you is the financial report through March 31st, 2026. Total operating revenues are approximately $4.5 million. That's about 14.5% above budget year to date. And that variance is mostly due to fuel flowage and customs revenue. We did see a small increase in the fuel flowage revenue based on the fuel prices going up last month as well. Total operating expenses approximately $3 million, and that's 3.7% below budget year to date. To highlight a few items, the higher variances, we have the office operating expenses. Just to kind of point out on that, it's called office operating expenses. It does cover everything that has to do with the administration building as well, even like HVAC and regular maintenance and the parking lot and all of that. So it's not just office supplies, it's the entire administration building. So the variance there is mostly due to the administration building parking lot seal coating project that was just completed. It was completed in April, so the numbers do not affect the March report. So that's bringing that down a little bit. And then we're also having a procurement for a new ERP system. And that system, the RFP for that just went live on Friday. So once we get those in, that'll bring that number back up a little bit. The other two variances are pretty much the same from the last couple months, the marketing special events and the professional services. And each month we do see those coming in a little closer into market. So with the revenues 4.5 million and we had expenses of approximately 3, net income before depreciation is approximately 1.5 million. So on behalf of Airport Management, Secretary Treasurer, we respectfully present the March financial report. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for that? We'll entertain a motion to approve. And this would include the error is noted that is in the without version as well. Any other comments or discussion? If If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. So moved. Tenant reports and requests, item 8. Rob Pratt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, Robert Pratt, Operations and Program Manager. Airport Management has received a special event request from Atlantic Aviation on behalf of their tenant FlightPath USA, Inc. To host a special event on their leasehold on May 15th, 2026. The event will be in collaboration with Addison Meisner School and will include light food, music and dancing, and student recognition moments. There will be roughly 75 students and faculty in attendance. So with that, Airport Management recommends approval of Resolution 041126, granting conditional approval to FlightPath USA, subject to submittal and Airport Management approval of the required safety and security plans. And we do have members of Atlantic Aviation here, should there be any questions.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
Any further discussion or questions? Not all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Rob. Executive Director and staff reports. Leonel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, Junior Romero, Operation Coordinator. Before you is the operation and noise abatement report for the month of March 2026. The month of March 2026, there were 9,527 operation, which is a 14% increase from operation of March of 2025. In March, 4 VIP TFRs being implemented over Mar-a-Lago. A total of 1,892 aircraft operation were recorded during the TFR days for the month. And operation during the TFR days remained roughly the same compared to March of TFR operation during March of last year. Jet deliveries were up by 7% compared to March of 2025, and AVGA delivery decreased 68% compared to March of 2025. There were 6 households that filed noise concern in March of 2026, which was from the noise hotline and the online noise reporting form. During the month of March 2026, Customs had 319 aircraft clearings, which is a decrease from the 378 total clearings during March of 2025, and there was no vessel clearance. These 319 aircraft arrived from 24 different countries, and there were 34 after-hours clearings for the month. For March of 2026, the observation area received approximately 1,636 visitors. This concludes the operation report for the month of March 2026. I will have to answer any questions.
What's the operations area number there for March? Is that like an all-time high?
For which sector?
The observation.
The observation area. Yeah, this is 1,636. Pretty big that.
I think it might be second or close second.
Okay.
I think we
The
look at
highest
it
one
as-
we had was around 2,000 visitors a month, but
Okay.
the 1,600s and 1,500s, those are the higher ends, the second highest sets of numbers. In the summer, we'll see,
Yeah.
500 to 600, but this time of year, it's typically up in that 1,500 range.
It's a very good number though.
It is. Yeah.
We're getting a lot, I think we've spoken about this, a lot of social media comments on it, organically, from the general public who visit will post. So a lot of the times when I'm out there and I'll ask people, how did you hear about us? That's how they hear. Is other influences or people who visit and post, and then they see it that way.
Any other questions for Leonel on this item? Not, stay up there, please, and present the electrification master plan.
In front of you is the electrification master plan overview. The electrification master plan is centered on assessing the current condition and capacity of the electrical system for the airport. This allows us to identify potential risks and anticipate future needs. It also supports capital planning, enhance resiliency and sustainability. During During the inspection process, all aeronautical and non-aeronautical tenants were visited to assess their electrical infrastructure. Discussion were held with each tenant regarding their utility services, meeting configurations, and the presence of emergency and standby power systems. The key risks identified include single point of failure, aging, and obsolete equipment with limited replacement part availability, vulnerability to utility outage, and the increase of likelihood of service interruption during storm events. Recommended steps include prioritizing the replacement of high-risk electrical equipment and implementing a phase to approach the capacity and resiliency of upgrades. From a system condition perspective, the overall electrical infrastructure is currently functional. However, it includes aging and obsolete equipment that should be systematically replaced to maintain reliability. For emergency power, existing generator can benefit from improved monitoring and operational flexibility. In terms of sustainability, possible solar installation sites have been identified with a strong potential to offset energy consumption. A list of recommended projects has been identified with preliminary budgets estimated for each. Federal and state funding opportunity may support this improvement, and key initiatives include modernizing infrastructure by replacing poor and absolute switchboard panels, transformers, and planning for capacity growth, as well as pursuing on-site solar installation in parking lots area and other locations where it should not be impacting aircraft operations. And that's the overview for the electrification master plan.
Are there questions? Obviously, this is a very detailed report, and we just wanted to present the highlights, and also obviously this is probably not the last time we'll be discussing this topic as we move forward. Claire, anything to add from your perspective?
No, I think what the next steps for us will be, as Lynell mentioned, is identifying priorities and funding opportunities. There may be some things as we go into our budget year this year, our budget prep, starting in June, that we prioritize and maybe self-fund, particularly some of the things that are life safety, if we determine that grant funding is not available. I think we've spoken about some of the challenges that we are recently facing regarding grant funding being more limited and more difficult to come by. But John Kerrigan is also here with Barber, so we're going to be working, and this team put this together, so we're going to be working with him and his team to prioritize and come up with a plan of action that accomplishes that.
Yep.
One area that I was interested in is the long term. I mean, again, it's very comprehensive, a lot of stuff in here, but I was interested in, the projections. We're talking about increasing the total electrical demand over the next, 10 to 15 years. And knowing how much we're growing in Palm Beach County and Florida, and what that takes for Florida Power and Light, maybe it's too early, but I don't know that it's ever too early. PNL has got to be doing 10-year projections of what the power needs. I don't know, this demand here, if that is really measurable to Florida Power and Light, but how are we going to deal with that and communicate with them?
John might be able to
Yeah,
shed some
you want
light.
me to go up there?
Yes,
Please, yeah.
please. There was coordination with FPL as well, so John will be able to give you some details.
Sure, thank you. So yeah, Claire is right. We interviewed and talked to FPL a couple times throughout this process just to get their input on what it would take. I think in two aspects, Jim is correct that this grows, the forecasted growth due to varying factors from tenant, expansion and eVTOL, GSE electrical, GSE equipment goes from about 3.5. We'll call it megawatts. My electrical engineer would correct me, but it's something close to that. But it grows by about 30 to 35 to 50% over 10 to 15 years. So in the two main recommendations that are in the report as it relates to communicating with FP&L is, for one, talk to them about getting redundancy for having multiple feeders serve the airport, so that if one goes out, you have redundancy from another one, so you never experience a power outage. And the other one is to start planning for those long-term items like transformers that need to grow and increase as this capacity increases. So I think those conversations should start, and that's recommended in here. We're happy to support that effort. And really it's about getting that into their system and having them plan for it as early as we can. And with some of the stuff that is identified in this report, once we can identify what those growth are, and it's really, we looked at it in terms of 0 to 3 years. There's a need to do that, and then in the longer term, 7 to 10 is another opportunity to do that. So.
John, in your conversation with FPL, did you get the sense that they knew we were here? They're already planning things in our area, or
everyone
like, oh, what do you want? We stand on the list, I guess.
Yeah, my sense is everyone has a wish list that they come to FPL with. I think that we need to start, as the airport needs to start getting on that and just being out in front of it, and also making a request so that they're aware that what the need is that's coming.
That's fine. Okay, very good. Thank you. Appreciate that.
If we go out for a grant, what type of numbers are we looking for?
I think it depends on the scope of the project. Certainly, I think the smaller numbers that are, thank you. Computers, it falls asleep. Some of these smaller numbers that, particularly the first one, modernized infrastructure, that's probably something that, you know, we could compete favorably for if there is what we term the fallout money. So we can certainly start having conversations with FDOT right now about saying, hey, we have a project that we'd like to fund. If you have some spare money where some other airport may not be able to capitalize on it. So, for example, the vertiport feasibility study was one like that. That was after the fact. They had some funds available. It was $100,000 project. So we're certainly going to have those conversations right away. I think certainly the bigger numbers, when you're looking at, you know, to 2 million, possibly up to 5 million, those would have to be programmed in for future years as part of the regular funding cycle.
And some of those can also be worked into already programmed projects. Like we have a project relocating the vault and the electrical or airport beacon. That it can be an opportunity to upsize those transformers that feed those utilities for additional capacity in the near term.
I mean, as far as, you know, the demand issue locally, I'm sure we're gonna get swept into the greater need of FAU, the mall, the hospital, you know, the resort, you know, all the competing businesses that are local that whose demand probably well exceeds ours. So, I mean, I would think that would be a favorable thing, that we would just kind of benefit from whatever infrastructure they'd be building out for those businesses as well.
And we may be able to act faster too because of the flexibility that we have with just, you know, having the direct decision making at your level and coming to you faster than maybe some of the bureaucracy that other organizations may have. So.
Any other thoughts or questions? Thank you, gentlemen.
I'll just say real quick for context that the current demand of the airport is roughly about the size, if anyone's been through DFW, their CONRAC, that is currently what the electrical demand is here of the entire campus. So we're looking to grow that by about half of a CONRAC at DFW over the next 10 to 15 years. So it's not an insurmountable ask of it, you know, but it's something.
The CONRAC's consolidated rental car center.
Okay. Thanks. All right. We're all kind of deer in the headlights. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Item 9C, update to the airport rules and regulations. Scott?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The last time the rules and regulations were updated were specifically to address the new customs facility. So there's been some things we've been looking at as our operations have evolved over the year that do need updating. One thing you'll notice about this document, it looks quite a bit different from the previous document, just in its form. We cleaned it up from a formatting standpoint, got the table of contents in order, and everything's now linked. So You won't see red lines for those grammatical changes because it'd just be one big red line. And you wouldn't be able to see the substantive changes, which we'll highlight here. So in the front section, we removed several sections such as insurance standards, those types of things that are addressed by other policies that already exist within the authorities of regulatory framework. So we remove those so we don't have to update the rules and regs every time we update those policies. We also took out some definitions that weren't used throughout the document. They were just kind of pointless to have in there. And we've added some definitions that we actually do need, such as vehicle pedestrian deviations. You may have seen a focus on those in the news with some of the incidents at the larger airports. We also addressed those later on in the document. We added the definition of the runway safety area, taxiway safety area that was lacking before. That comes into play when we're talking about BPDs. The default contractual terms were also removed because those are addressed on an individual basis each time where you enter into a contract with either a new tenant or a vendor or anything like that. When it comes to aircraft operations, we clarified the section around dealing with disabled aircraft. It was a little vague for as far as who was responsible for removing the aircraft, who would be responsible for paying for it. And Amy gave us some legalese kind of added into the statutory framework. We also took out the sections referencing voluntary noise abatement procedures. This is going to be a rule and regulation. We really should be addressing voluntary items. Those live in our noise abatement program. Specialized aeronautical activities. We did remove references to experimental, ultralight, and home-built aircraft. Those are specifically regulated by the FAA. There's really nothing for us to do. They operate here currently on a daily basis with no interaction from us. We did leave in some of the other types of aeronautical operations like glider towing, banner towing, parachute drops on the airfield, blimp operations, because those are going to have a direct impact of potentially having to close sections of the airfield and get personnel out to the airfield. So we obviously want more engagement with the operator in those situations. And this is also where we added the language for vehicle pedestrian deviations. Previously, they were not addressed. This specifically addresses the ability of the authority to take regulatory actions such as removing airport access, pulling badges, or finding individuals who either commit the vehicle pedestrian deviation or in some way contribute to the occurrence of the vehicle pedestrian deviation. When it comes to security requirements, we updated that to just match up with regular aeronautical terminology. There's things in there referencing a security perimeter, which is really referring to what we know as the AOA, the aircraft operations area. We also updated the section referencing firearms on the airport. There has been some changes to Florida statute lately and a different interpretation of that statute by the Attorney General. He put out a guidance document. So we incorporated that language so we're in compliance with the state of Florida. We added a couple of sections or noise abatement. The big change here was how we address high-powered run-ups. The recommendation in our 150 noise abatement study did not jive with what was in the rules and regulations. So now it just reflects it the same in both situations. For special events, the only special events previously allowed were those specifically related to the Boca Raton Regional Hospital, which has not been the policy of this board in the past. So we aligned the special event language to basically reflect what you have been approving in the past few years. The observation area, obviously, it's a new facility, just like when customs came on board, we had a section to deal with customs. We did a similar thing here, dealing with the conduct of visitors to the observation area. And then there was another section that we added dealing with weather modification and some required reporting that we're required to do to the state of Florida if there's any aircraft that are modified to modify weather that pass through the airport. There was a change to statute last year that came out of session. And so this just basically keeps the airport in compliance with the new requirements of the Department of Transportation. So that's a high level summary of the rules and regulations. If you have specific questions, happy to address them.
Questions for Scott?
Scott, or, sure. part on animals here, I saw that red light. Was, service dogs and things like that. It's way back. Some, what page?
Yeah, give me the page reference, please.
Yeah, right, I lost track. It was, seemed like it was fairly early on. 101? Oh, no, that's not it.
I think that was in
It's
the,
removed. It's page 109 of the PDF.
Yeah, that's right. Animals. So,
Page,
yeah, the whole animal section is red light.
again, when it comes to service animals, there's specific state statute
Oh,
and
okay.
ADA requirements that address that. And the previous language really wouldn't allow someone to bring a animal on their private jet for vacation, which we know that happens all
Yeah,
the time. We
gotcha.
even have turtles fly through the airport, believe it or not, the sea turtles. There's an airline turtles fly too that rescue cold-stricken sea turtles that have operated through here before. So we really just didn't feel it was appropriate for us to address it in our document.
Yeah, we've had, I think, rescue dogs too.
Correct.
Hurricane areas. Yeah, good.
Anything else? Not, I'll entertain motion to approve. Further questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Scott. Item number 10, Authority Board member requests and reports. Comments or business? Item 11, public comment.
there are no.
Other business, anything else to bring before the board by anybody? Our next meeting is scheduled for May 20th at 5 p.m. Not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Second. Okay. Adjourn. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.